So it's April the 3rd, and we're just starting our spring drilling today, having been cultivating for a couple of days before the drill, trying to get rid of some of our weeds before we drill. And I'm going over to the other farm now just to pick up the loader, so we can lift the bags into the drill hopper. So we've got two varieties of wild oats, wild oats on the brain. Two varieties of oats we're drilling sowing today, and this is Canyon, which we're starting off with first, and then we're going on to Firth, and it's going on at 230 kilograms a hectare. This is our last field of oats. It's now about 7 o'clock at night, so another hour we'll be finished these, and then we'll get onto the wheat tomorrow, hopefully get that done tomorrow, and then do the barley possibly on Friday before the weekend. This is our second day of spring drilling. We're now doing our wheat, and don't know if you can see from this, but it's got some light snow, but hopefully we're going to be able to continue. It's supposed to be light snow, maybe clearing up later on, but we just have to see how it goes. But wheat, this is going on at about 230 kilograms a hectare, and the variety is Malika, which is a milling wheat. So we're at lunchtime now through our first day of drilling wheat after we drilled our oats yesterday. This shot's really for posterity because it's the 4th of April, and we don't often have snow in the UK on the 4th of April. But we've pulled these fields down with a harrow, and they're very fine tilth, and so even though it's snowing, it's still quite dry underneath, and it's not doing too badly. And even though the drill's plucking up a little bit, it's still drilling quite well. I don't know how long we can go for, but we're just going to try and get these fields in if we can. This is hopefully the last day of spring drilling. I'm on the loader taking the barley seed out to the drill. The barley's the last stuff we've got to sow this spring. It is now April the 6th, which is really quite late for spring drilling, especially with cereals, but the ground really is so incredibly cold. Like, as you can see, I think from this clip, that there's quite a heavy frost on the ground this morning as well, and you might think that some of these cereals might not do terribly well going in so late. But my view is that it really depends on the weather that we get afterwards, after we've sown it, and if we get some nice, warm, mild, wet weather, then the spring cereal should be as good as anything that was sown a month ago. So what we're sowing is a variety called Quench, which is a malting barley. Actually, I think this is the first time we've actually sowed malting barley before, and it did get a malting quality, but that was a while ago. So we'll just have to see what the weather conditions do to see if it turns into a malting quality. But the seed beds are just fantastic. We've been across with our Vibratil, and then yesterday I went across all these fields with the set of pressure harrows to really try and get rid of all the weeds. There's black grass and wild oats and lots of broadleaf weeds, and I hope from this shot you'll see that actually we've got a very clean seed bed. There's one or two little bits of green there which I think will die off because the drill also cultivates a little bit as well, as you can see. But what we've done with other bits we've sown, and there's a bit more green, we've actually gone across with our harrow comb after drilling and after sowing the seed to try and pluck one or two of those bits up. But hopefully we'll be finished by early afternoon, which is great because this is Saturday. so rest of the weekend off. This is on one of our contract farms where there's a very bad cooch problem, and we finished sowing our oats here the other day, but we're using this harrowclone not really for blind weeding, but really to try and rake some of the cooch off. And that's the cooch rhizomes, which are the things that the cooch grows underneath the soil, and it's a perennial grass weed, and it keeps going from these rhizomes, which are these roots that stretch underneath the soil, which helps the weed spread. So in practical terms, harrowing it off the fields means that we then have to leave piles of the cooch grass on the headlands, which means then when we've finished and we've got less work on, then we'll come along with pitchforks and put this into a trailer, take it off the farm, put it in a pile, dry it out, and then burn it. So we're sowing our last field of spring barley here, and I've just been walking around the field to see how well we've been sort of killing this black grass and other weeds, and you can see that it's been cultivated a couple of days. You can see it all looks pretty sick now, and it's going to take a lot of rain on that over the next few hours to allow that to set itself again. But also walking around the fields, it's amazing what you come across in the fields, and this is not that amazing, but it's a brick. It's a Suffolk white brick made from Suffolk clay, so probably only maybe a couple of 100 years old or 100 years old. And but also near to it, then you've got these other bits of pottery, which would be Roman pottery, sort of lying around in the field as well, and plus also this sort of more sort of rectangular sort of bit of pottery, which is obviously also Roman as well, but because of its regular shape, it suggests that it could have been part of some mosaic as well. So possibility of maybe a Roman villa of some kind here. But what's amazing is that until you start looking in these fields and start looking at the obvious archaeology on the surface, you start to realise actually what an incredible amount has gone on in pretty much every single field. You just have to keep your eyes to the ground and try and spot it and work out what it is. I'm obviously very pleased that we're finishing doing our spring sowing today, but I'm slightly sad because this tractor here we've had for 7 years, and I've actually sold it, and it's being part exchange for another similar tractor. But I'm sad because actually this tractor has actually been probably one of the most reliable ones we've ever had. It's been absolutely no trouble at all, and I thoroughly recommend it to anybody who might be looking for a second-hand quad-track, because it's been very well looked after, only one driver on it, and as I say, it's been incredibly reliable, and I only hope that the next one is as reliable. So if you're interested, it's going to be sold through Ernest Doe's in Sudbury in Suffolk, so give them a ring. And if you buy it, I just would like to see it posted up on YouTube again sometime in the future.